Hi everybody, Bald&curious here. So I'm a little late to the game with the whole P322 from a 6 hour, and all I can say is this gun might be single biggest reason why I want to move out of New York. This gun is still not legal in New York. We'll get to the details of why, but my brother-in-law just purchased one. I'm visiting, so I had a chance to go to the range, and let's just talk about it. So comes in a box similar to Sig P365. As a matter of fact, I want to bet it's the same box. I'll whip up my 365. We'll do a little comparing. But right now, let's just take it out of the box. The gun comes with two magazines. Comes with the two magazines. Gonna put a loaded one aside. Two magazines, a loader, a really handy loader. You get the actual gun, the lock, and then you get the thread adapter and another trigger, a trigger shoe I should say. The straight trigger is just a polymer or rubber. You can slide this off and slide the curve on trigger on it, but I have a zero issues with this trigger. I actually like it. We'll talk about a similarity between I mean, at least in my opinion, it feels a lot like 365 macro, X macro, whatever you want to call it. The grip module really reminds me of that. So let's talk about the pros first. Okay, the gun comes with the two mags. I did my research. I watched the video. You gotta be careful of loading it. Basically, you want to keep attention on it as you load, which for that reason the mag loader works real well. I mean, you can do it with the finger as well, but mag loader makes it so much easier. We shot a bunch of these Federals, Brownings, shot a Winchester X bulk pack, and we shot American Eagle. I had two malfunction, not really malfunction. It was on the last round where the round kind of jammed on the feed ramp, but I'm gonna say 100% it wasn't the gun's fault because it happened on two mags that my brother-in-law loaded, and I think he caused that. All the other ones ran 100%, no issues. The gun is ridiculously accurate right out of the box. Given we didn't do any super long distance, we shot at about 15 yards, but a little pasty shooting on that, no issues whatsoever. We did. I did field strip the gun before we shot it. I didn't go crazy. I just kind of sprayed some solvent on the slide, wiped it off, and then just wiped this area over, and I just put a dab of oil on the rails and pretty much reassembled the gun back. So while we're at it, let's talk about why the gun is not legal in New York, and that is because of the threaded barrel. There's a thread protector over here that you can remove, and you can install this thread protector if you want to shoot a suppressed, or if you want to put a compensator or whatnot. And that's the reason why it's not legal in New York. The 20 round magazine obviously is another reason, but that's something the most FFL can deal with, and they can probably pin the magazine. However, most of them do not want to deal with pinning the barrel. I'm sure there's somebody that's willing to do it. It's just my local guy doesn't want to mess around with it, and hopefully for me it's not going to be an issue for very long. So let's reassemble the gun. The nice thing about the P322 is, unlike any other rimfire gun, you're not supposed to be firing the rimfire gun because you can damage the chamber, I guess, back of the barrel, whatever, or you can break the firing pin. The P322 is dry fire safe, at least from what the 6 says, so there's no issues with that. And let's talk about the trigger. So you can definitely feel a little sponginess. That's the little plasticky feel, but then you get a nice break and a nice tactile reset, fairly short reset. So the trigger on this gun is really nice. I'm more than happy with it. The sight system, you get this almost blacked out with the two fiber optic inserts, really thin inserts in the rear and the fiber optic front. The sights are really easy to pick up, and those two fiber optics in the back don't really bother me. And I'm not sure, but I'm pretty sure. Yeah, this is elevation adjustable. I don't think this is unless it might be drift adjustable for the windage, but it is mailed for the RMR or RMSC, I should say. Or I actually have a Romeo Zero they sent me back after the one I had a problem with, and I never used it, so I'm gonna bring it the next time. We're gonna slap it on this gun. But even without it, this gun is just fun to shoot. With the 20-round magazine, you can go nuts, and magazines are fairly cheap. I think they're around $30 if you want to stack up on the magazines. The gun is obviously 22, so it is fairly light, but ergonomically it feels like most of the bigger Sig guns. So this is, as it says, it's a perfect training tool, and that's one of the reasons why I talked my brother into buying it, because he doesn't shoot a lot, my sister doesn't shoot a lot, they need their practice, and the only gun he really has, besides all my guns, is a PX-4 Storm from Beretta, with, I believe it's a 4-inch barrel, and again, doesn't shoot that too much, and although he's allowed to shoot at his property, he's kind of afraid of the noise and whatnot, so with this, he can definitely go and blast in the back of the property. The noise with the 22 is minimal. I mean, a couple hundred yards away, you can't hear it at all. So, not something that bothers the neighbors, even with the closed windows. So, yeah, the gun does have a manual safety, which for me it's not a deal breaker. If you're, like I said, this is a training pistol, so it's not a bad idea to have it. So you kind of create the habits of sweeping the safety on a draw if you want to do that. So the safety is nice and tactile, really positive, in the right spot. The mag, not the mag, but slide release, slide stop, whatever we call it, it's a little stiff, but again, the gun is fairly new, so yeah, you gotta put a little more pressure than I'm used to, but other than that, it's fine. And the mag release and all the other stuff feels just like most of the other Sigs I have. So let's compare it to the couple other Sigs ergonomically. So let's start with the big brother. This is the Sig X Carry, P320 X Carry. This is the ZEV edition, and let's compare it to the P322. And again, if you look at it size-wise, okay, it's almost identical. It's just as tall, just as long. Obviously, this is a lot heavier because it's a real gun, but I would have to annotate the actual weights to figure it out. But you know, like I said, perfect training tool. Actually, let's see if it fits the holster. Alright, so I went ahead and moved my TR7 sub on the P322. This is a Works holster, and yeah, not 100% fit. I mean, in a pinch it'll work, but you know, close enough, I guess. But then again, I don't have the light. I would have to move the light a little more backwards. In order to do that, I gotta move the key. So yeah, it might sort of work with the P320 holsters. Well, the second gun I want to compare it is, like I said, it reminds me a lot of Sig 365 X Macro. This is a kind of a Franken gun, but it is an X Macro grip frame, a grip module. So ergonomically, if you look at them, they really look close. And if I overlay them, it's actually a tad bigger than a X Macro. You can see it's got the slide is longer and the grip is a little longer as well. Curious if... Yeah, it doesn't fit the holster if you're wondering. So no, it doesn't fit the holster. But again, I really like the way this feels in the hands comparing to a X Macro. Again, I would say it'll make a pretty nice training tool. So if you're a Sig guy, if you shoot Sig, this gun will fit you just fine. It's got all the ergonomics you're used to, whether you're shooting X5, 320, or 365. It'll feel really familiar in the hand. The grip texture on a back straps and the side panel is a little more aggressive than a X Macro, and to be honest, I would like the X Macro to be the same way. I don't care. I don't care if it rubs against my belly. I'm just so excited about this gun. I don't get excited about guns a lot, especially about fairly inexpensive guns. I mean, MSRP on this is $3.99. We picked it up in the local store. I forgot what it's called. I'm gonna annotate somewhere here. Really nice store in Stroudsburg, Pennsylvania, and I think their price was $4.19. They had a two-tone for $4.59, and they had the FTE version for $4.99. I don't know why the hell it's $100 more for the FDE, but no, I guess the custom color. Yeah, the gun ran 100% other than the two little mishaps, which I'm not really blaming the gun. And I can't wait till I'm back here again to shoot it some more. I just got one more reason to come visit my sister. If you like this kind of videos, please like, share, and subscribe. And as always, have fun. Keep shooting.